Hi YouTube subscribers, hi YouTube world. So I did want to make an update video. I wanted to talk to you guys about what happened at the end of my pregnancy. The last video I made was giving you guys an update about the gestational diabetes and how things seem to be getting better. So with that being said, things did seem to start getting better and then they got crazy. So at the end of my pregnancy, as you guys know, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, and then towards the end, I was on metformin and insulin and diet controlled, and everything seemed to be getting better. Well then, at 30, at 34 weeks, I went in and got, I saw my specialist like I normally do every week when you have gestational diabetes. And the ultrasound came back that the baby was still like way too big. They thought she was 7.5 pounds at 34 weeks, which is the size of a full-term baby at 40 weeks. So between that and I had a lot of fluid in my stomach, and the baby's stomach was like 4 times too big. The specialist talked to my doctor and she said that we need to go ahead and get me induced early. So, my doctor, my regular OB, agreed with the specialist's recommendations, and they decided they were going to induce me at 37 weeks. So, and then after that meeting or whatever, like shortly after, maybe like a week or two, my sugars started dropping and I started getting hypoglycemic. So originally, like with gestational diabetes, you'll have really high sugars. But then I think it was like at 36 weeks or 35.5 weeks, something like that, my sugars started to get too low, like reading into the 60s or low 70s, even after I was starting to have to eat large carbohydrate meals to get my sugars up. Like even after drinking Coke and eating stuff I know is bad for me, like huge pasta meals. I went with my mom to one of my favorite seafood restaurants, Papado's, and I ordered like the worst carbohydrate meal I could think of, and it had like something ridiculous, like over 300 carbs in the serving is what I read. And even after eating like a huge plate of that, of all this pasta with like the sugary sauce or whatever, I checked my sugar afterwards and it still read like 70 or something after an hour. So I started getting worried, and I could tell I was getting hypoglycemic because when I get like that, I usually start getting like confused and anxious and kind of jittery, and sometimes my hands will shake. So I reached out to my doctor, my OB, and I said, hey, my sugars are getting too low, I think this is what they are, like what should I do? And he just was like, oh, well, that means we have to deliver the baby soon, whatever that means, because we already know that. I was planning on getting induced within like a week. So that wasn't very helpful. Then I reached out to my specialist, and they said that I need to watch my sugar, make sure I'm eating, which I'm already doing, of course, at this point. But they said that if it got to like, I think below 70, to go to the hospital, let them know I'm hypoglycemic, and see if we can get induced sooner. They also told me to eat more carbs every meal, which I was already doing. and they said to stop taking the metformin. So I stopped taking the metformin, and keep in mind, at this point, I've already been to the hospital because of a complication from a UTI. So, and everything going on with the gestational and everything they've told me about me needing to get induced early, I'm starting to get pretty stressed out at the end of my pregnancy about everything. And now, I think having low sugars is even more stressful than having high sugars, because then there's the danger of you passing out or just really bad things can happen if your sugars get too low. And I don't know how it's affecting the baby and everything else. Although at my checkups, they kept saying she's fine, her heartbeat's good, she's not getting distressed. But, I don't know if when they're monitoring me, if I'm having one of those episodes, those hypoglycemic episodes. Anyway, so I felt better after talking to my specialist, because they gave me at least like an idea or a plan of what I should be doing. But by that point, I was going to be induced in like a couple days, so I didn't really have to wait too much longer. That was the saving grace, because I was very stressed out. So basically, when I was supposed to be induced, they put me on a wait list at the hospital. So what that means is on Monday, they planned at like 37 weeks, I think exactly. They start me on this wait list on Monday. So you're waiting for the hospital basically to call you when a bed opens up in labor and delivery, because first they take all the pregnant people that are in labor first, and then they go to like the most high risk pregnancies that are on the wait list, and those who have been waiting the longest as well, and work their way down. So I was put on the wait list on Monday, and I waited, and then finally on Wednesday, by that point my husband's getting anxious, I'm anxious, my mom flew in from Pennsylvania, she was anxious, especially too because of all like the issues I've had. So finally, like Wednesday at like 4:00 in the morning, they called me, told me I have an hour to get ready, like shower, eat something, and then come to the hospital. So I was just happy because, we've waited so long for her, and then I didn't want to have any more complications, and I just was like ready to get the baby out. So we went to the hospital, and then, I guess I'll make the next video about what happened once we got there and talk about my fun labor. The words fun and labor do not go together. But yeah, so at the end, as though my pregnancy hadn't been crazy enough, at the end, I started having issues with low sugars. So, yeah. Which I think either extreme is not good. Having really high sugars or really low sugars during pregnancy is not good. It's not good in general, but it's not good when you're pregnant because it can affect the baby, and yeah. But yeah, I did do what they told me. I stopped my metformin, and I started eating lots of carbs, which was kind of like a treat for me since I'd been on such a strict diet. I literally gained like just 30 pounds from the pregnancy because I was on such a strict diet. It was all in my belly, and my stomach got huge because of all the weight there, and because all the fluid, because when you have gestational diabetes, the fluid builds up because your baby starts peeing out like the extra sugar. Like the baby will make more insulin and start peeing out the sugar, just like a diabetic whose sugars are too high. They'll start peeing more to try, it's the body's way of trying to get the sugars down. So that's why I had so much extra fluid. They call it like hydroamniocentesis or something, I believe. Not 100% sure, but something like that. I'm not a OB nurse, so yeah. But anyways, okay, well, I'll make the next video and stay tuned. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and till next time, stay safe. Bye, guys.